Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. We are on macroeconomics and we talk about aggregate demand today. Demand, yes, you have learned before, and today we call it aggregate. It means the macroeconomic version of demand. We learned it well in microeconomics already, so it should be easy, right? So first of all, you think about what is aggregate demand curve. Okay, but aggregate means abstract stuff. Okay, shows the demand of the economy as a whole. What do you mean by as a whole is all the population there, right? And also about all the firm there, the whole government, and the demands for all the goods, okay, all the service. Wow, everything is all. And how about the price? Okay, there is some skill or some technique theory to tackle all this complicated stuff. Aggregate demand is the total amount of goods and services that all consumers, firms, government, and foreigner of an economy willing to buy at different price levels over a certain time period. So this is the aggregate demand curve. See the trick, okay? What is the total stuff, okay? Horizontal asset is the total amount of goods and services. Real outputs of the economy. Oh yeah, the real GDP. Also, have been corrected by the inflation rate. Good. Okay. The real output is measured by the real GDP. Symbol of real output is Y. We used to have a symbol for it too. How about the price level? Oh, we use the average price level. Shows how expensive are the goods and services in general in an economy. So the average price level is measured by the consumer price index. We see we can have some scheme real world data for it. Okay, the symbol of average price level is simply P. So CPI can be measured and GDP can be measured, and we can have look at them, okay, watch them or heard about them in daily life news, okay, or YouTube films sometimes. Okay. The aggregate demand curve has a negative slope in general. Why? Yeah, when the price increases, demand decreases. Why? What's that? Law of demand. Got it? Well done. The aggregate demand curve shows the aggregate demand at different average price level. When the average price level increases, the quantity of aggregate demand decreases. So it is the law of demand. So it is shown by the movement between A, B, and C along the aggregate demand curve. So from A to B is price increase, aggregate demand decreases. And from A to C, it is a price decrease, the quantity of aggregate demand increases. So you can see the negative correlation between them. And we simplify them by a straight line. So, okay. Thinking time, okay. Example, okay. Compare the demand of the mobile phone of you, of Peter, and the demand of the mobile phone of the country where Peter lives. Anything the same, anything different? Think about it, okay? So compare the demand curve of mobile phone by Peter and the aggregate demand curve of mobile phone by the country where people live, okay? The same idea. Anything the same? Anything different? Okay, pause the video, write down something. Welcome back, okay? Now it's time for checking, okay? Remember, the same price, right? Peter and the whole country facing the same price because they bought the same thing, okay? Individual or all the people add together, so the range of prices of the two demands are the same, okay? But the quantity demand are completely different. For the Peter, it's just one or two phone a year, maybe, okay? If he's rich or want to change or not, okay? But the whole society depends on the size, can be 1,000, 10,000, or a million, right? So as the market demand curve about the country is much larger. So which one is larger? Horizontal is larger. So they need to be is much flat for the aggregate demand curve. Okay. Remember the sum of the demand. But now it's aggregate. Okay. The whole economy summed together. Then they will be this one. On the country, they are drawn on the same scale. Okay. If we can see aggregate demand curve is a reasonable slope. So what happened to the demand curve of Peter? Nearly perfectly in elastic, nearly vertical line. Crazy. So what is the component of aggregate demand? So remember, aggregate demand is the GDP. Demand. So it is an expenditure approach, okay? So what we need to do is just transfer all the 5 components into demand. Consumption, demand of consumer, investment, demands of firm, government, demands of government, export, demands of foreigner on local goods. Imports, demands of local people for imports. Okay, so all the things can be transformed into a demand. Okay, so expenditure approach of DGB is a good way to describe aggregate demand, and you divide a complicated stuff into 5 components. 5 components. So you need to be ceteris paribus, right? Each time I just change one thing and think about how it changed the aggregate demand. Although the 5 things maybe some interaction between them, so we have to tackle them carefully. Okay, so aggregate demand has 5 correlated components. To investigate how one of these components affects the other or affects aggregate demand, other components have to keep constant. Actually, they are interactions, so by somebody keep them constant. Okay, or don't discuss them in a separate scale. For example, when investment increases, but other component may fall more, so the aggregate demand may fall. Without the purpose, we think that increasing investment, aggregate demand for because we forgot the purpose. We forgot the fair test. We forgot keep other things constant. Okay. So, for example, every year more than $250 million are invested in US. Okay, how this investment help US? Because they have a multiplier effect. Okay, remember the income cycle, right? And then 1.2. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, this investment increased the ADA of US and sustain the stable economic growth of around 2%. Okay. So one by one. First is a determination of consumption. See how C is being affected. Okay, consumption has a big share in AD for developed country. Okay, with it 3 terms to be defined. They are marks, so you have to memorize them. Wealth is the total market value of all the assets owned. Interest rate is the amount of payment over time for what? For payment received by saving or payment for borrowed money. Consumer confidence, okay, describe the feelings of consumer about the present and future economic conditions. By surveying the feelings of economic condition of consumers regularly, consumer confidence index can be found produced from this statistical result to indicate the change of consumer confidence. Consumer confidence. Okay. When how do consumer confidence affect the consumption? Of course, higher the consumer confidence, the more consumption, they are more optimistic about future, right? So when consumer consumption confidence increases, consumers have a more positive view of the future economy and their future income. Positive view, key terms, okay, for the explanation. They will increase their spending now. Spending is consumption, so consumption increase. Okay. Interest rate, of course, saving, right? If your interest rate is higher, people save more, so consumption decrease. If interest rate is higher, firms borrows less. Okay, so investment or the consumption by the people will decrease too. Okay, when interest rate increases, the incentive to saving increases. Remember, it's about consumption, about people, right? So people will put more money in income in savings, so less consumption, so consumption decreases. On the contrary, interest rate increases, the cost of borrowing increases. So not the firm, people will borrow less for consumption, so they will use credit card less if the credit card rates surge up high. Okay, so consumption decreases. Wealth, okay. If you have money, you use part of them for consumption, right? Of course, okay. Especially when the stock market is good, okay. The wealth effects, we call it, okay. People will have more money from the stock market, and some of them people will be used as consumption, so consumption increase. So when wealth of consumer increases, they will use a part of it in spending, so consumption increases. Also, when the wealth of consumer increases, consumer confidence increases, okay. So further increase the consumption. Correlated. Other factors, okay. Income taxes, negative, okay, of course. More income taxes are paid the tax, so less money for consumption, more money, right? So income tax increases, people need to use more income to pay the tax. So the consumer spending will decrease, the consumer consumption decreases. Also, when income tax increases, the multiplier effect drops, okay, this is a leakage, remember? So consumption further decreases. Level of household indebtedness, okay, is opposite to the wealth. Okay, when household indebtedness increases, consumer need to pay more interest of debt by the income. So consumer spending decrease, consumer consumption decreases. Okay, of course, the consumer confidence also decreases, further increases. So 2 points, remember. So think about this thing. Think about whether it will affect the consumption directly, and also think about whether it will affect the consumer confidence. Okay, 2 effects. Remember, think about it in a broader way to get more marks. Next one is the expectation of future price level expectation. Okay, so good expectation spend. Yeah. The thing about if you expect that the future price will rise, what will you do? Buy now. Okay. To don't use the later spending today, so consumption increases. So when people expect that the future price will rise, inflation, for example, the price of products in the future will be expected to be more expensive, so people will shift the future expense thing to here, so consumption increases. Okay, the word is good. Shift the future now. Immigration means people. More people, more consumption. Right? Yes, population growth. Right? Where in immigration, people enter the country, the population increases, so in short run, the consumption increases. Okay. In emigration, the population drops. Okay, so short run, consumption of people decreases. Okay. Real life example. Okay. In the past decade, the consumer confidence of U.S. kept rising due to the continuing economic growth. Okay. So the consumer confidence index of US increases to 130 in 2020. Okay. The growth of consumer confidence has a positive feedback to the economic growth, forming a positive cycle. So higher economic growth, higher consumer confidence, higher consumption, and then higher economic growth, positive cycle. Excellent. In 2017, Japan increased the value added tax. Okay, from 5% to 8%. Wow, taxation. So Japanese are lower their spending immediately. Consumption drops, maybe due to less confident about future also. Okay, the aggregate demand drops sharply, and this economy suffered a brief recession of shrink of 7.5% afterward. Although it's just a short term. Okay, people get used to it quickly. So determinant of investment. Okay, investment brings out technological advance. It is the catalyst of economic growth, so something more than just more resources is in. Okay, some advancement. Business confidence describe the forecast of the prospects of the firms by the owners or management. By surveying the optimism and the pessimism of firms owners or management regularly, business confidence index is produced. From the statistics, they can find out the change of business confidence. So similar to consumer confidence, it can be some index. If the survey is giving out, same survey giving out to the same company, same combination of company regularly, so the test is comparable to the index. Okay, the same concept. Interest rate. Okay, when interest rate increases, the firm has a higher cost to borrow, so they are not consume less. Okay, invest less. Okay, investment jobs. Okay, so when talking about is consumers' behavior is consumption, firms' behavior is investment. Okay, similar thing but different terminology. Okay, business confidence. Okay, when business confidence increases, the firm expect the economy to grow in the near future, so they will invest more. Why? To capture the future increased demand. Okay, to capture the demand. Okay, so investment increases. Technology, when technology advance, new and more efficient machinery and computing system appear. Okay, firm will invest on the new machinery and computing system. For example, now is the AI system, right? To increase its efficiency. Okay, so firms will also invest to research and development on the new ways of production. Okay, so investment increases with technological advance. Okay, so with an AI come technology, the company invests more money on computing. Okay, business tax, same as the tax. Okay, so business tax increase, of course the firm has to pay more income for tax. Okay, so less income for investment. Okay, so investment decreases. Level of corporate indebtedness. Oh no, if the corporate has a high level of indebtedness as a whole. Okay, so firm needs to pay more interest of debt by their income. If the interest rate also rise, oh, double attack. Firms have fewer income available for investment, so investment decreases. Also, when corporate interest increases, the business confidence increases too, right? Yeah, double effect. Always remember, does the effect affect investment directly or indirectly affecting the business confidence, and then in turn affects the investment. In US, the business confidence rate was at the peak at 1978, 84, and 99. I've done the research. Okay, the GDP growth was also at its peak at this year. It demonstrates that rising business confidence have positive effects on economic growth. Both are at the peak at the boom cycle. Okay. Determinant of a government spending G. Okay. Government spending is the most stable in the fluctuation of business cycle. It is the usage of government spending. Okay. Counter cycle. Okay. Political priorities, but in modern society they can't do so. Works from the people is the first priority of politics. Okay. The purpose of a decrease of government spending in welfare is a political suicide. You can say so. Okay. So government spending in developed country never jobs keeps increasing to get the works. Okay. So deficit worsen, okay, in most of the developed country, but yeah. And the economic priority, okay. From the economic priorities perspective, okay, the government spending should be counter-cycle, okay. When the economy booms, okay, the government should shrink, okay, should decrease the government spending, okay, to save some money, or even to use it to cool down the economy and lower the inflation. Okay? When the economy is in recession, governments should increase the government spending to fill the deflationary gap or pull the economy out from the recession. Okay? Determinant of net export X minus the member both are X and M. Export and import, you have to describe them. Okay? Net export is important for developing country to grow. Okay? Income of what trading partners. Okay, wow, when the income of the trading partner increases, whatever demand for export increases. So export increases and net export increases. Remember, you say two things. Export of the import change and the net export change. Okay, say clearly 2 points, 2 marks. Okay, exchange rates. When the domestic currency appreciates, what will happen? Yes, the domestic product becomes more expensive, so export decreases. On the contrary, the foreign products become cheaper, so imports decreases. So double attack again. So net export drops quickly. And when interest rate increases, the domestic currency appreciates, so net export decreases. So it is the same effect. Okay. Trade policy. Imports are subsidized products. Okay. Part of the imports are replaced by domestic products, so import decreases and the export increases. Export promotion policy. We'll talk about it clearly in next unit. Okay. The export increases and net export increases, but don't do it too much because it is against the WTO. Okay. Your partner will be unhappy. Okay. And retaliation from the country will be affected. Okay. Price of resources for natural resources important country like Japan. Okay, an increasing price of natural resources means an increase of imports, right? So net export decreases. For net export, natural resources export country like Australia, an increase in price of the natural resources good mean an increase in export. Okay, so net export increases. Real life example: the price of resources can be very volatile. Okay. For example, in the oil crisis of 1970, the price of petroleum quadrupled in 1974. Crazy. Slope of the AD curve. Okay. Yeah, we want to describe why it is negative slope from the perspective of CIGXM model. Okay. Like the demand curve, the aggregate demand curve is also negative slope. But why we want to think about it? So consider increasing average price level in the following discussion. Okay. So when average price level increases, what happens to the consumption? Price increases, real wealth drops. Okay, so people spend less. Okay? C decreases. Interest rate probably will rise. Okay, because of the average price level to cope with the high inflation. Okay, investment and consumer spending will be discouraged. I and C will decrease, and the interest rate average price level increases, so local goods becomes more expensive. Wow, local good more expensive. So what happens? Export jobs. Okay. Less competitive, so X decrease. Imports becomes relatively cheaper, oh, so imports are more competitive, okay. And the demand for local goods are further decrease, so M increases, okay. Imports increases. All this affected leading to a decrease in aggregate demand, right? All the CIXM decrease, except for government spending. Government spending should go back, okay, go up to counter the cycle, right? So the aggregate demand curve has a negative slope. And also reducing interest rate increase at 80. Boosting up the economy, this is the way the government will do, okay, when the economy is in recession, okay. Graphical illustration, okay. So spending, investment, and net export are components of the aggregate demand, okay. When spending by consumer firm, government increase, investment in physical, human, natural capital by firms and government increase, is spending or net export increase, all these things, the aggregate demand increases. But the aggregate demand increases for any average price level. No, whenever you think that is any average price level, it is a shifting of the aggregate demand curve, not moving along it. Consider decreasing interest rate in the following discussion. Okay, when the interest rate decrease, incentive to saving decrease, so people consume more, so consumption increase. Firm has a lower cost to borrow, okay, so firm will invest more, I increases. And the domestic currency, because interest rate decrease, so domestic currency depreciate, okay, export increases, okay, and import decreases, so net export increases. So consumption, investment, net export, and components of the aggregate. But remember, always write this thing. You have marks in IBDP to show you know what is GDP in the expenditure approach. Okay, aggregate demand increases. So the aggregate demand curve shift to the right from 81 to 82. Okay. For example, the decrease of interest rate is called the expansionary monetary policy. Monetary is interest rate, money. Okay. It is used to increase the aggregate demand. As the economic crisis of 2002 and 2009, the US government reacts quickly, decreased the interest rate sharply from 5% to 0%. Crazy. The reform of interest rate helped the US economy recover quickly after these two crises. Both its personal consumption and fixed investment grew by 2% afterwards. So go back to the natural way. Okay. The other is a shift of 80 curve when 80 decreases. Okay. Increasing interest rate decrease 80. Oh, cooling down the economy. Yeah, over. It's at a boom. Okay. 80 shift down. Okay. So when everything goes opposite, when consumer and business confidence drops, okay, or foreign investment decreases, or government spending reduces, or tightening policy imposes, deflation happens, or high interest rate appears, which discouraging consumer consumption and borrowing by firm, aggregate demand decreases. Remember, confidence. The aggregate demand that decreases for any average price level. This is very important statement you have to say clearly. Any price level, so shifting of the curve to the left from 81 to 82. Real life example, a rise in interest rate decreases consumer spending and corporate investment, just the aggregate demand will fall. Okay. In USA, following the peak of interest rate at 1995, 2001, 2008, there were sharp drops of GDP growth, showing the correlation of an increase of interest rate and a fall in aggregate demand. Okay. So it showed that the monetary policy works. Okay. Thinking time. Explain the possible impact of a decrease in business confidence on aggregate demand. Pause it and write down something. Forgot it. Go back to the video and watch it again. Welcome back. Okay. Business conversation about business. Okay, about investment. Yeah, when the business confidence decreases, the investment by firms decreases. As investment is part of the aggregate demand, remember write this one. Okay. AI is a part of the AD, okay? Aggregate demand decreases for any average price level. So the AD curve shifts to the left from 81 to 82. Thank you for going through with me. It's very important. Aggregate demand. Very similar, but now we have a model, GDP model. What's model? Expenditure model. So we can divide that GDP as AD as GDP and as C, I, G, X, and M. So we can describe it in detail for 5 factors, 5 components. Okay. If you like our share, remember, like and subscribe and share with your friends. Okay. See you guys. Bye.